Hey everybody, Sneaky here. Today I'm going to do a video on Hood, Outlaws, and Legends and cover as much of the basics as I can, so kind of in depth. It's an upcoming multiplayer game. I'm making this because not a lot of other people are doing this, obviously. If you'd appreciate that, there's been a lot of impressions and reactions and re-uploaded trailers that are already out, so not too much good quality stuff lately. So yeah, I'm gonna put links in the description for the community. There's a very active Discord, and the Discord is a Focus Home interactive Discord, but there's a Hood Outlaws and Legends channel within that. So you may have to scroll down on the left side to find the channel to discuss it, because there's going to be other games within that server. And then the second most popular, I think, would be the subreddit. I'll put the link there. And there's also a Hood competitive one, but it's not very active. And I'll put links to other areas where you can look and discuss the game as well. So the game is being developed by Sumo Newcastle, a subdivision of Sumo Digital, a UK-based company, working out of headquartered in like Sheffield, and then it's being published by Focus Home Interactive, the third biggest publisher in France. The release date is May 10th of this year, 2021, and if you pre-order it, whether it's the base pre-order or the version year one edition. We'll get into that in a bit. Either one of those are going to get you a 3-day early access May 7th of this year. Alright, so about this game, mainly it's a multiplayer PvPvE game, player versus environment, where the environment serves as objectives mainly, and this environment is just like the AI. And there's a lot of questions about this. There's no single player upon launch, and there's been a lot of requests for like a co-op versus environment mode, so you can just chill with your friends. And that has been taken into account by the publishers and most likely relayed to the developers over time, so they are aware of that request, and we can only wait to see if that comes out. Personally, don't hate me, but personally, I don't really care too much for it. I'm kind of more the competitive PvP kind of guy. I like League of Legends a lot and stuff, so I'm not desperate for that, but it's been requested a lot, so don't worry about that. So the premise of this, or the story, is it's basically a dark twist on the English folklore Robin Hood, and in this story here, as you can see in the video, it's they call it the state. The state is like a oppressive force, like an oppressive government force that's really reducing the quality of life for the inhabitants around here. And you can see this visually in the buildings, the structures, the architecture of here, and some maps, we'll get into it later, like marshland is evidence of this oppressive type, where I think it was marshland, where they had destroyed the dam, and that was blocking all the water, preventing it from flooding into the city. And now it's a marshland because they destroyed that. They don't want people to thrive in the area, something like that. So there's no story mode, but through the map, through playing the game, there's going to be some visual storytelling. And later on, we'll get into, maybe in another video, we'll discuss some of the tidbits in the games, like the little lore pickups or collectibles you can get throughout the game. So the objective of the game can be broken down into 3 parts. The idea behind it is that you have your 4 outlaws per team. Okay, so you're going to be with 3 other people on your team, and there's going to be a rival team of 4, and the versus environment is a shared common enemy among the two opposing teams. And the objective is to basically, hurt the state or hurt the rich, steal from them to give back to, the people post-match. We'll get into that. So you kind of want to infiltrate the fortress or the combine or whatever you want to call it, and steal the riches and get out. So it's a heist. So we're calling it a PvP VE 4v4 heist multiplayer competitive game, and on a set map, not procedurally generated. It's just set, confined, and I think there is 5 maps, and there is an Xbox achievement for like 6. So that's something to discuss later on. So for now, 5 confirmed maps on the website, and so the objectives can be broken down into 3 aspects. You and your team want to approach the sheriff of Nottingham and pickpocket his key off of his belt and use that to get to the vault room and winch the vault out of this thing, the structure that it's in, and basically then the final step, take that really heavy treasure chest and get it off the map, onto a boat or whatever, and then finish the map. And if you do that, you're good. You're gonna have gold at the end of the match, and you can progress your character and go up levels and purchase perks and cosmetics. So it's really cool. But of course, the rival wants to do the same thing, right? And then the AI doesn't want any of this happening. So it's a really cool dynamic. So let's get into some things I want to show you. Here, can you see that? So first thing I want to cover, I've talked about, is the 3-day early access. So if you buy either one of these, you're going to be good. I forgot to discuss that it's on PS5, PS4, Xbox. Both Xbox versions are all Xbox versions, PC, and it's not going to be on Steam. So if you do purchase this one, I don't know about other currencies, but in Canada this is about, I think, American is about like $30, and then this is about like $30 or so, more or less. You can click the links in here, and I'll put the link in the description. And if you buy the year 1 edition, you can get a battle pass that'll cover 3 seasons or 1 year. And if you, regardless of which version you get, you're going to have access to this Force Lords pack, which is a cosmetic, 4 outfits and 4 weapon skins. Okay, so there's so much to unpack here, but I want to discuss. Let's just go through this here. Okay, so there's other social medias. I forgot there's a Facebook and there's a Twitter. The devs, the publishers respond pretty quickly to the Twitter if your question is reasonable. The Instagram is not very active, but the Twitter is not too bad if you have questions for the publishers. We are all outlaws, but some of us will be legends. In a violent medieval world, outplay rival gangs in intense PvP VE multiplayer heists. Move in stealth to steal treasure unseen or dominating through loud and brutal combat. Only the best will escape with hard-earned riches. Of course, I forgot to mention, but obviously there's stealth is a big element to this game, and there's so much to discuss on that. You could do a video on that alone. But that kind of lends us to the Outlaws. Why don't we skip through to the Outlaws real quick here. So the Ranger, I won't read this. You can pause and read it yourself, but he's the long-ranged character. He's got the longbow. His trait, everyone has a trait, everyone has an ability, everyone has their own unique perks, and everyone has their own gear, unique to each of the classes. So, trait, scout. Survey the environment, tag targets for a prolonged duration. So when you tag, it's going to outline the enemy in red for you and your teammates to see them. Anybody can tag, and I guess the ranger can do that for a longer period of time. It seems like maybe 10 seconds. You guys can watch the videos, but it seems like maybe everyone could do it for like 5 seconds maybe, and he can do it for 10, but I'm not 100% sure. This ability is kind of synonymous to like an ultimate ability on like Overwatch or League of Legends. Farsight. Channel the force power, draw an ethereal arrow that explodes shortly after impact. So you may have seen clips and videos of that, and this can actually stun the sheriff of Nottingham. Sheriff is basically the first objective, and he has a path. All the enemies, all the AI, have like path that they a unique path and a sort of random, from what we heard, path, and they as they walk through the castle, the fortress, whatever the map is, and the sheriff, he's the first one that you have to get that key off of, and he's a one-hit kill, and he's very big, and you would know, okay, this is that sheriff that he's talking about, and he's he doesn't run, he doesn't go into a full-out sprint, but he does walk very fast. So if he's chasing you, he sees you and he's chasing you, have to run, and you have to break line of sight and go back into stealth before he stops chasing you. You can use like loose arrows or throw rocks to divert his attention, or even the other AI to the rival team, so that's a good strategy as well. But this ability will actually stun him, but of course, you know, the charge up rate for the team's for the class's ability is pretty slow, and they get charged up by doing I think like killing or doing assassinations. That hasn't been discussed in detail, but yeah. Perks, you can read this here. This isn't a specific perk, this is just, you know, the perks that are an idea or a summary of what's going to be available. And from what I've seen, there's maybe 12 or more perks per class. The gear is I think you can have one or two at a time. I don't know if it recharges or how that works. I wasn't in the closed beta, so there's a lot of stuff that I don't know, but I've just done research only. Blinds target for a short duration with an area effect, so it's kind of nice supplement, good to use. You know, there's a lot of strategy here. You know, if you stun the AI, at least we've seen clips where they're kind of, you know, you can run past them, they're kind of like this, and you can use it to offensively or defensively. You can use it to kill them or just get out of that situation. So this was the first character class gameplay release, and I think it seems like most people want to play the leader here, the legendary leader of Outlaws, Robin Hood. Each of these people have names here, but it doesn't show, but it may show as you're playing the game when you have friends connected to you in the servers in the upper left corner. It might show the names, or it might show your gamer tag, I'm not sure. But we have Robin the Ranger, we have Marianne the Hunter, we have John the Brawler, and we have Took the Mystic. The Hunter is kind of like, if you know anything about World of Warcraft, kind of like the rogue, stealthy, quick, but physically inferior class. The crossbow can be, you can use charge up to three bolts to do, you know, deadly mid to close range attacks. And then there's that blade on there, so you can assassinate. Trait Shadow, this allows her to assassinate from any direction. Shroud, you can go invisible, and you'll be undetectable to the AI unless you get really close, I think, because we've seen that the trailer recently where they said, oh, you can go invisible, and then she got into high alert, so I'm not sure. You know, and also I'm not sure how difficult it would be to detect to real players, but Took's got a little something up their sleeve for that, so we'll get into that. Perks, you can read that there. And Smoke, this can, again, similar to the Ranger, can be used offensively or defensively, obscure vision, and I believe it also works well on the AI, maybe too well. I don't follow Brawler as much. He seems to be like the class that people don't seem to want to play as much. Of course, there's still a lot of people that want to play, but just from what I've seen on the Discord, not a lot of people want to play as much. But he's using the hammer, so because he's melee. Same with the Mystic, he's also melee. But because these guys are melee, they take less damage, less physical damage to the ranged classes. So that's something to keep in mind. So he uses the hammer, and it's a lot of damage. I think it can be a one hit on some of the AIs. I'm not sure. His trait allows you to raise the portcullis gates, giving you access, quick access to certain parts of the map, and or also a quick escape as well. If you've been spotted, or if the AI started ringing the bell because they saw you or possibly a dead body, they should really add that if they haven't. If an AI sees a dead body, that should be an alert. But maybe they didn't add the ability to pull off corpses into corners. So we'll have to see. It's not a big deal though. Wrath. Unleash your inner beast, enhancing your offensive and defensive capabilities. I would love to see. I assume that maybe this would prevent you from being maybe assassinated by Marianne, because a lot of people are thinking that Marianne's going to be a little bit too OP with her shroud, just go up and assassinate people from behind. Apparently it is quite difficult to do that to real players, because I assume you make noise, and this is a real human, right? You're more aware. But this would be nice if it can prevent you from being assassinated while using this, because currently we don't know of any real counters to her, right? To Marianne. Perks, can do some more damage, and you got the kill streak, some good stuff there, and explosive. So yeah, you put down your explosive, and I believe a little yellow or orange ring appears on the ground, and it detonates after maybe 3, 4, 5 seconds. And I assume any real players as well as AI being caught in that would instantly die. And before speaking about dying, basically if you die, it's a simple respawn. And so another YouTuber said that each time you die, it increases the respawn time. So I'm not sure. Again, I was not in the beta. I don't know what's NDA, what's not. This is just made public, so that's just what I heard. And the Mystic, he's he's got the flail. He can kind of spam a little bit because he's got the trait Respire. Due to enhanced breathing, stamina is regenerated at a faster rate following usage. So I believe swinging your weapon, for the melee classes only, swinging your weapon uses up some stamina. Also, I believe blocking uses up stamina. So the melee characters, they can do blocking, and the ranged characters, they don't block, but they can roll or evade, which uses stamina. So I guess he's got good stamina. I believe sprinting may also use stamina, so he could be used for scouting out objectives, or if the key is caught, maybe he could run to it fast. But then again, he may be caught out easier than, say, someone like the hunter, right? So that's something to consider. There's a lot of strategy, I think, that's going to be going on here. Perks, you can read that here. The poison. So again, all of these gears are kind of defensive and offensive capable, and yeah, I believe it affects the vision and also drains the stamina, and I think this works really well on the AI. So yeah, there are some other things I want to discuss about that, but I forgot. So hopefully you guys are reading this to understand the lore. Just a quick synopsis: they thought he was dead, and he's back. And she was heir to a lot of money, and she got screwed over, and now she's pissed. Everyone's kind of upset at the state, right? The state is like, the storyline, rival, and we're trying to get, rip them off, steal their money. The brawler, I think his dad was killed because, for, unlawfully, and he's like a blacksmith, and now he wants to get vengeance. And this guy was actually one of the only people that were a part of the state, and he was, very obedient, and I think he was in jail for whatever reason, and then the person that he was in jail with, a good friend or a family member, died, and he was like, WTF, let me get my revenge. So What else is there to discuss here? Let me go back to the video here for you guys. Look at some good stuff. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of, if you can read into some of those abilities and understand that some of them complement and counter. So, for example, if everyone can, tag enemies, right? And I don't know if you tag enemies, but definitely AI, but I assume you can tag enemies as well. If you can tag enemies, anyone can tag them, and a ranger can do it longer, and Marianne throws her smoke. That's going to be a counter, right? For example, that's just one that comes to mind. So a lot of cool stuff there. Let's look at the maps real quick here. Okay, graveyard. Oh, each one of these are my favorite. I love them. They look so cool. Okay, let me scroll down a little bit more. Graveyard. From what I hear, it's one of the smaller maps. You have, I really like this little section here, deep beneath the church, with rumors suggesting they may lead directly to the state's hidden riches. So maybe you can kind of go inside here and tunnels lead to the state. From what I've heard, this map is, they didn't want to make all the maps dark. I know it may look like it on trailers, but in gameplay I think it'll, turn out differently. They were kind of, as they were making their maps, they were like, oh, we can't, all the maps are dark, we gotta do something. So this is one where it's actually daylight, it's very bright, but there are a lot of long cast shadows from, you can see trees, and you can see some of these, these tombstones and buildings casting long shadows, and there's apparently going to be a lot of great places to hide in the darkness and assassinate people. From what there was a video too, forget which one it was, where someone was hiding behind some stone, and like this area here, one of these stone, I don't know, block or whatever, and they're able to vault over it. So that's pretty cool that you can kind of vault over stuff. Hopefully that mechanic works out nicely. Marshland. And as far as, I'm sure you guys, I don't know if you guys can read this, but this was basically the story is this graveyard was here long before the state was around, and the state kind of put a whole bunch of stuff on this land that was just huge and was just too big for the land, and it's just everyone's kind of just hates the state, right? So that's a part of that. And the marshland is kind of just summarizing this these paragraphs again. It was a good nice place, everyone was happy, and then the state didn't like that, and then they just destroyed the dam, flooding the whole place, and now it's people had to leave and seek refuge. About this map here, it looks like there's a lot of open areas, a lot of fog to hide around, some wooden structures, so I think it'll be pretty cool. I don't know too much about it. Coastal here, from what we can read, there's a lot of hiding places, but in between structures you're going to be exposed quite a bit, so you gotta act accordingly and plan things out. So maybe this map is more forgiving. Again, I didn't play beta, so I don't have first-hand experience with these maps, and I wouldn't be able to talk about it anyways. Plus, from what I heard, beta was only one of the betas at least was only 2 maps, so maybe nobody in the public knows. I think this will be a favorite. Obviously very dark gothic style. We've seen a lot of gameplay footage and pictures of inside the castle, where they have those huge dinner tables, and a lot of guards inside. I love the theme here. It's so cool. It's very traditional medieval gothic style. It's obviously, maybe it's gonna be a fan favorite. Outpost here, this was a place where a lot of outlaws were trading and doing business and hanging out, and I guess the state didn't like that and took over. And this is kind of cool too. It's kind of a country feel. Apparently there's going to be some the outer walls are unfinished with wooden palisades in some places. This may afford an entry point for any outlaws brave or stupid enough to try stealing the collected toll monies. So it's really cool. One thing that comes to mind with this map was some gameplay where we saw two players winching the treasure chest out of whatever it's being held in, and there are like 3 notches or 3 points where once you're winching and you're physically winching it out and it reaches this little mini visual checkpoint or UI checkpoint, it's not going to go back any further. And there is about 1, 2, I think 2. And the third winch is the final one, so it takes time to get out. So there's a common strategy, I think, is like if you sneak up behind these your rival and they're winching, that they're vulnerable. They should know that they're vulnerable. I believe you can see the progress of the winching, the progress of this treasure chest getting out of its structure, and everyone can see it, and allowing them to winch out and then assassinate in the last minute will save you time so that you can just take that chest and go to extraction point. So let me go back here and give you guys something to look at. So I believe there should be 3 extraction points. When you're looking at the map, you may have seen some of these videos. You'll see ABC, and that'll denote when you're in the first few stages of the game, respawn points, or they call them capture points. And when you go physically on the circle outlining the capture point and you hold whatever button it is, you're going to have that, and that'll allow you possess that capture point unless the rival team takes it back later on. But when you have the capture point, that'll allow you and your teammates to respawn at those locations, which are a lot closer to the objectives than your home spawn. And later on, once I think you'll see they won't be you'll see on your mini map the extraction points. It won't be like A, B, or C, but I think from what I've seen there would be like 2 extraction points. Maybe there are going to be some other maybe 3 extraction points on larger maps. I'm not sure, but I think I've only seen 2. And you can choose, use your strategy to decide like what's the best place to extract the treasure chest and win the game. One strategy might be choosing an extraction point that's closest to your respawn, your home respawn, or one that's closer to a respawn, a capture point that your team possesses. So those are some good strategies. What else can we discuss? I think that's really it. I mean, there's so much to dissect on this game. You can, talk about it longer, but I just wanted to cover the basics. If you guys have any questions, I can answer them. I'm on YouTube every day, and doing school from home, so I'll probably respond quickly. I think I've covered most of everything, so I'll let you guys go. Hopefully you guys buy this game. I'm definitely gonna buy it. For now, the players are going to be locked by region. So if I'm in NA, so if you guys are in EU or UK, I don't know what other servers are going to be. We may not be able to play, but nonetheless, hopefully you guys do pick up the game and find some cool friends to play with, and I'm willing to play with anybody. I'll put my Steam profile in the description as well if you want to add me, and we get a little roster going on by the time the game comes out, May 7th or May 10th. All right, over and out. Thanks for watching. Peace.